Okay, ninjas, say it with me. $50 billion. Yes, that is what the childcare industry brings in each year. Over $50 billion of income. What? So that must mean that the childcare industry is booming. But here's the thing. Most people are looking to figure out how they can get into the childcare industry, where they can get the monies from to get started. Well, tonight I'm going to be sharing with you some ideas and some tips on how to find monies to get started in the childcare industry, because this industry is booming and it's growing. And it's pretty much recession proof, because who doesn't need a childcare provider, and a quality one at that? So meet me on the inside, ninja, as we talk about ways for you to create income so that you can bring in what you need to get started in your childcare business. All right, ninjas, you got this. I am so glad you're joining me this evening. Welcome to Monday Moves. I am Nikki B, the host and founder of childcareninjas.com. Okay, so it's a $50 billion industry and pretty much recession proof, because there's not really a time when people will no longer need childcare services, right? So it is pretty much one of those things that is a solid business, a solid industry for you to get into and really be successful. And it's very possible for you to be successful in this industry. The problem that I see most people have, and what a lot of people tend to ask me, is, Nikki, how do I get the money to get started? And it's really a valid question, but I really think that people don't take the time to actually really dig in and think about the different possible ways to get started. Not everyone needs to start with a center. And not everyone needs hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started. So first off, tonight, I wanted to take a moment and really talk to you about some of the different ways to actually get started in the industry. And then we can talk about how we can find the monies to get started in those different ways. So before we dive in, I do want to take a moment to welcome you to this channel. If this is your first time hanging out with us, I'm so glad that you decided to do so. And if you find this information helpful, if you enjoy this video, please make sure that you give us a thumbs up and be sure to like it down below. And then if you have been here before and you're returning and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that, because if you're coming back, then we must be connecting, right? So go ahead and click that subscribe button down below and become a part of the family. So let's go ahead and dive into tonight and find out how we can get the monies that we need to start our childcare business, okay? Okay, so first things first. The problem that I see that people have when they come to me and they're talking about, Nikki, I really need to know where I can get the monies to start my childcare business. Okay, so my first thought is, and my first question always is, how did you plan on starting? Because there's so many different ways to actually get started in the childcare industry. You don't have to, if you don't want to, go out and look for a building and throw yourself into a building. You absolutely can if that's what you want to do, but you don't have to. There are other ways to jump into the industry and build yourself up. Okay. Some people have chosen to go with the franchise role. And if you can, and if by any means you have access to that type of money, by all means, more power to you. I didn't start off that way, but there are some people that have, and they were fortunate enough to be able to do that. One thing about the franchises is that for the most part, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started in that industry. And then you're looking at, tens of thousands of dollars in franchise fees and things like that. But for the person who really wants to get into the industry, they have the credit and the monies already ready that they can roll into a franchise. By all means, it is definitely a good possibility for some, because they have that ongoing support coming from the head of the franchise. And so it can definitely be a plus for the person who is ready and can put out those things that they'll need in the beginning, as far as credit goes, and as far as, a lot higher, financial investment. Not everybody has that. I didn't have that. And then what I can say is what I did have was a little bit of money, and I had a whole lot of determination to really make this work. So with a little bit of money and a lot of determination and a willing commitment, a strong commitment to stay in this industry and to push through the troubles and the obstacles that might come up, for that person, starting your childcare business from your home may be exactly what you need. And so tonight, what I really want to do is talk to you. I want to talk to that person who is looking to maybe start from home and grow their business to something bigger if they choose to. So if after some years you want to go into, a building or build your own franchise, by all means, the possibility is there. But I just don't want for people to look at the childcare industry and say, oh, I can't do it because I don't have the monies to get started. I'm just one of those strong believers that if there is something that you truly, truly want to do and you are committed to it, then there is a way to do it that does not have to break the bank, especially if you don't have the bank, okay? So let's look at some of these ideas that have helped others and even myself, in the past, whenever we were trying to, or when I was trying to get started in the childcare industry. So again, I started from my home. And by doing so, I was able to start with very little financial investment. So I literally had about $500 that I started with. And that was really more so for, my initial flyers and business cards and things like that. And then I definitely utilized companies that were less expensive. And sometimes if we can find ways to do them free, those were the types of things that I did in the beginning. But don't get it twisted, because just because you start small with very little does not mean you cannot grow, because you most definitely can. Again, the commitment that you have to really grow your childcare business is what is going to take you to that next level. So if you are committed, do not stress about not having hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started, because you really don't need it. Okay. What I will say is that there are a few ways to come up with the finances. So a lot of people ask, where can I get grant money? And right now, for businesses that are already open, there does seem to be, grant monies out there in the childcare industry. There are grant monies for most of us in most states. I can't speak for everybody, but, in most areas, there are some monies that are being, given out to childcare businesses to help them grow their businesses and to help them, in some cases, stay in business, because we really need childcare businesses right now. So you definitely want to, if you're already in business, those are mostly for, at least what I've seen, I'll put it that way, mostly for childcare businesses that are already open, that have already been open for a little bit of time. So you definitely, but there's nothing wrong with checking, because you never know what some of the government organizations and agencies within your city, your state, you never know what resources they are aware of that maybe haven't gotten out there fully yet. So definitely check with some of your government agencies, check with the SBA, check with places like that to at least see what they are aware of. And then with Google, with so much technology right now, it is so much easier to really start looking and finding things. And even if there's an organization that maybe doesn't focus on specifically childcare grants, do not be deterred by that, because sometimes you never know who's working in there and what they've heard of. You can still give them a call and just ask them, if they know of anything, if they're aware of anything in your area that might be offering grants and things like that now. So I would definitely take a look at that and see, what you can come up with as far as trying to find grant money. And we all know, and if we don't know, grant money is monies that you do not have to pay back. So they are things that you apply for, and normally they have to go towards certain things within your businesses. Each grant has a guideline, of course, and so you follow those guidelines, but as long as you are following those guidelines, you do not have to pay that money back. So that is the plus of trying to find grant money, and most people do try to find some sort of grant money to help them in their businesses. It's just a little harder sometimes if you don't already have a business started. So not to say it's impossible, just saying it's a little harder. So when you are looking, also don't just narrow it down to looking at specifically childcare grants. Look at small business grants, small business startup grants. Look for things like that, because those things can possibly help you go ahead and get you started in your childcare business. Also, if you are looking at maybe Keystone stores or something like that in your state, look at those organizations and see if they have any startup grants. Most of them have something that's kind of maybe, like a $500 or $1,000 grant or something to help you get started. So definitely check in on those possibilities and see if you qualify for that as well. When it comes to loans, most of us don't want to take out a loan to start our businesses. I know that I did not. It was a choice that I made, but it really does depend on where you are in your financial situation. And if you are able to take out a loan and that is what you choose to do, by all means, I don't knock it, but it was just a choice that I just chose not to do and did not want to go there with that. But by all means, if you are able to, most definitely check. I would start with the bank that you bank with regularly, because they know you, they know your habits and things like that. So I would start there. Credit unions, that you use, things like that. I would definitely start there. What you do want to try to steer away from is, loans that have like super high interest that, oh my goodness, I've seen them out there. You don't want to mess with those. But you definitely would start, or should start, I think, with where you are already. So I think that's a big thing, starting where you are already. So talk to your banker. Don't be afraid to talk to the people that you bank with. Even if you haven't started your business yet, if you're in the process of getting started, a lot of times they can help you steer in the right direction as far as things go. And you never know. Although, if you have a really, really good rapport with your bankers or with who you bank with, they may talk with you about grants that they've heard about. I mean, grants don't really make them money, but they're in the financial industry. So they hear a lot about a lot of different things. And so it doesn't hurt to ask them if they know of anything. Okay. So I would start there. And by the way, disclaimer, okay, I am not a financial professional, nor am I a legal professional. So you definitely want to make sure that you talk with legal people and accounting people, financial people that are professionals in the field, and, talk with them and see what their thoughts and their suggestions are as well. Okay. All right. Back. Okay, so also savings obviously is like the first thing that you might think about. And when I say savings, like, you don't have to think that you have to have thousands and thousands of dollars saved up. So this is where you planning out your startup is really going to be helpful. You need to definitely know how you want to start, what you want to do, how much you're going to need. So that's going to start there. The first thing you're going to do is get started with figuring out what your budget is. What do you need? So start there first, by all means. Okay. But then once you are looking, these are just ideas that you can look for in order to actually get those money. So savings, of course, is an obvious one. But also a second job. If you're doing a second job, or if you have the time. I know most of us are just so busy already, and we're just like, I do not want to take on a second job, but take it on. If you are going to take on a second job, or if you're going to do a side hustle, plan it out so that you say, okay, I am going to take 6 months and I'm going to do this second job, and whatever I can collect and put aside in this 6 months is what I'm going to use to start my business. So if at the end of this 6 months I have saved up $1,000, I'm going to find a way to actually make this start on $1,000 because it is doable. So I just want to keep you in the frame of mind. I want to keep reminding you that it doesn't take a lot to get started, especially if you are starting from your home as a home childcare business owner. And so in that case, when you're thinking like that, you are going to do the things that you need to do in order to get started and make it work. But set a timeline, set a period, set a deadline for you to be done with that second job or that side hustle, if it's a side hustle. But take that time and say 6 months or 1 year or whatever amount of time you choose. But at the end of that time, whatever you have, that's what you're starting with. So you're going to have to figure out maybe if you need to trim some things, or you may be surprised at how much you've saved up, because once you have a deadline on there, it kind of makes that thought process a little different, doesn't it? So think about it that way. Because then it also gives you a deadline that you are focused on, and you're like, okay, well, I only got 3 months left, so I better do what I need to do. Okay. So, I would say that, obviously some people will do the partner thing. And if you have someone that you can definitely trust as a partner, maybe they can be the financial partner and you can be the working partner up until a certain time. Definitely. One thing I will say, any partnership whatsoever you decide to do, most definitely get it all in writing. So have an attorney, fill out that paperwork. We all know that, we can be the best of friends, and family is family and we love them all. But when things like your livelihood come into play, when things get a little ugly, if they get a little ugly, and we always hope they don't, but should they, it's so much easier to just have everything written out while everybody's on good terms. Okay, so promise me, if you decide to partner, do it right, get it in writing. So those are some of the things that I think can help you as far as trying to figure out where you can get monies from. I will say one thing that I see also, and it's really, really big, is that we have to be truthful with ourselves about why we really haven't started. Is it really that we can't find the monies? Is it really that we are just really that fearful and we're using not having enough money to start as an excuse to not get started? And I can tell you, starting a business, any business, is a scary thing. So that is why I encourage people all the time, like, get in this community, talk and share what you're feeling, share what you're going through, so that we can all, come together and help each other out and encourage each other and share our journeys, so we know we're not alone, and get the help that you need. But it is definitely a fearful thing, a scary thing, to be able to be going into a business and saying, okay, there's no one else to cut my check but me. So that is a scary thing. And so sometimes you may come up with things that are obstacles only because we are that fearful about actually taking that step. But the one way to start moving that fear away and further away from us is to take that step. So definitely do not be so fearful that you are stuck and not moving and looking for excuses. Money is normally the biggest excuse that people have for not starting something or not doing something. And not saying that sometimes it's not a valid thing, it very well can be. But what I do want you to do is really take a look at what the real issue is. And just make sure that you're not using not having enough money to get started as an excuse to not get started because of the fear that you might be feeling, because that is very real. Okay, so I just wanted to leave that side note with you. I hope it helps. And I hope that some of these tips helped. What I did want to do this week is definitely give you a freebie that can help you think of some ways to come up with extra dollars to help you get started in your childcare business. So in the link down below in the show notes, you will find this week's freebie, which is the side hustle checklist. So if you haven't check that out before anywhere else. Definitely have a look at it. I definitely wanted to offer that to you tonight in Monday Moves, because it can be a great help in helping you get your juices flowing about things that you can do to help you get the monies that you need so that you can start your childcare business and live the lifestyle that you love. Okay, that is all I have for tonight. I hope that this video has helped you in thinking about some things and some ideas. And if you got value out of it, please make sure that you give us a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Also, visit us over at childcareninjas.com, and there's a crap load of information for you over there. Some free, some not free, but definitely just about anything that you really wanted to try to learn or work on inside your childcare business, you can probably find over on our website. And if you can't, make sure you reach out to me so that I can get it on there for you. Okay. All right. It is awesome having you. I'm thanking you again for joining me this evening. I hope this was value to you. Definitely check out the links down below. And if you haven't already checked out the information on our 2022 childcare business planning system, make sure you check it out, because in 2022, you want no excuses for not getting successful outcomes in your childcare business. And that is what this planning system is going to do. It is a whole system. It is not just a planner. And so you definitely want to go ahead and get in on the pre-orders, which we're taking right now. So click the link below, and I will see you next time in the next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Stay amazing, stay awesome, and remember, ninjas, you got this. Bye. Hey ninjas, don't forget to check out these videos to help you in your childcare ownership journey. Remember, you got this.